Hey gang, welcome back. It is I, DrBossKey, and today we are implementing our rank system, which means we're doing a little bit of UI work. So it dawned on me while I'm sitting here doing this that I found a way, kind of an old school classic game way, to transfer your mockup to the engine and to iterate through that. So why don't we jump over? All right. So here I've got this end screen. I'm using Canva. You can do it in Photoshop or whatever. I set my resolution to 1920 by 1080, so 16 by 9, because that fits the resolution and aspect ratio of the game. And I did my mockup. So I took a screenshot of the game here, and then basically I put this into Canva as my background, and then I started to work on these elements as I kind of puzzled through things. So, and I'm right in the middle of implementation. So just to give you a sense here, so what I did with Canva here is I got each of my text elements and my font. I wound up doing a little bit of a different color fonts and font treatment for the more gold-like coloring. I took our game icons because these are the things we're tracking. And then I wound up using essentially kind of this metallic check mark. So for negative and positive, to signify whether or not you've achieved those rank criteria in order to get your rank. All right, so pretty standard stuff here. So you can see here, I just add a couple sheets here. I export these as PNGs, and then I essentially take them into Photoshop and I crop them down to about the target resolution that we want. So and then you can see I export each of the letters here in this case because we're going to treat them like enemies and explode them. And then I did a quick mock-up of what these letters look like against the background, and then the check marks. So we hop on over to Shmup Creator, and so basically I've got a couple things going on here. One is you take the text object, so don't freak out. This is rendering what your text object is. So you go to your text object and you set your text properties. You set from text to type picture. Here's the name of our mockup here. Of course, you pull those assets into the engine. You don't need transparency in this case, or maybe you do. It's up to you. And then you want to set the size to 1, and you'll see, for the most part, so here, there we go. For the most part, here, take these guys out of here real quick. That nothing works. And the reason for that is because I put a player goes into zone trigger attached to this text object, right? So if I drag this down here, this gives me kind of a nice little switch statement to allow me to turn this on and off easily. Not too bad, right? So that's the screenshot. It's pretty close. It's not 100%. It doesn't quite fit, but dang, it's close enough. And I made some adjustments there. So with this in mind though, right? Let's bring our, I was starting to add the strings, right? Because essentially at the end of the day, each of the elements, in the way that I took some notes on the way I wanted to construct my screen, right? So each of these are different icons, or they're enemies in our case. That's what we're going to use them as. Or they could be pictures, depending on how you want to do, because you get nice fades and things like that if they're pictures. It's really just aesthetics at that point. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much all the elements. And then I know that I don't need images for these, because the strings in the engine, I have the same font, Kusanagi, in the game engine. So I'm in the process now of essentially bringing over the assets, right? So here I got my text object. I found pretty much very close to the font size and engine that works for the string, and all you do really set this up here so you can see the strings, right? They have a little fade up there, and if I look at those compared to the mockup, you can see that I can flip back and forth pretty quickly between the mockup and the scores, right? So, and then what you do is you just come in here and you're like, oh hey, so let's just do this. Let me see here. Maybe it's I don't know. It's a little bit easier to see this way. Maybe it's minus 45. Give that a try. Turns out it's not minus 45. Hang on a second. Come on, illustrate the picture. 0.8. Should give that a try. So here you can see that the Royal Highness text, the text object, is over in the corner. And so essentially what you do, and there's no perfect way to do this, but you come in here and you get your dial, and you basically try to pull them close. And you can just basically tab back and forth between runtime or in-engine preview, and you just work on getting your alignments together. It's very cathartic, right? And so I know for me, I know what that was, right? So go back to 26. And then for me, it's like, okay, is it close enough to where I want it? Or is it, in this case, I think it was 76 was the... And there I'm like, all right, good enough for government work. They're all, for the most part, aligned. I know the vertical axes for each of the text objects here is 26, so I know they're all center aligned, right? These are all just aesthetics. So, and I'm gonna go through and do the same thing where I have this mock-up and I'm going to lay out everything the way I envisioned it first in my mock-up, and then I'm gonna apply the logic for making things blink and blink and explode and particles and all that good stuff. Okay, that's it. It's short and sweet. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon.